line 10. Let's check in with Talk Media News and find out what's going on in the world today. This report brought to you by goatsfortheoldgoat.com and Loving What You Do, a new book by Ellen Ratner. On the line with us, Talk Media News, is Bob Ney, the author of Sideswiped. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you, Tom. And I know we run up against the clock sometimes, so before we do, just want to express on behalf of Talk Media News Service what a delight it is to listen to you and to do your show and to be part of listening to actual intelligent free speech.
Well, thank you, Bob. It's really, really great. I'm very grateful to Talk Media News Service, too, for making you available to us, and Ellen and everybody else, Luke Vargas, all the years that we had Victoria. Great content, and we're very appreciative of it, and I wish you the very happiest of holidays, Bob.
Yes, sir. Today, of course, as you know, you've been talking about the budget, and there was some fact-checking. I'm sure you've seen that, because in a way the president says, well, we secretly and quietly undid the Health Care Act, Obamacare. Actually, they're putting some poison darts into it. There's no question about that. And at some point in time, it's going to have to be tweaked, or things are going to pop up that can't be ignored. But also, and I didn't catch this honestly 2 days ago, but now we know that the mandate, which you sign up, of course, for the exchange, was, quote, done away with, but it actually, the penalty, and it isn't done away with until 2019. And I had no idea 2 days ago the way they were stating it.
So he's doing away with Medicare or with Obamacare, rather, as of 2019, you said?
Well, yes, with the mandate.
Or doing away with the mandate. That's fascinating.
But they have sold to the base, because what has been sold to the base of the Republicans, of course, is the fact, well, we didn't repeal it, we didn't get rid of it, but we, in fact, are undoing that mandate. While they actually aren't undoing it for 2018. One, right. I would ask why not if they were going to do it, and I know the answer, because they would have caused chaos in the system. But also, they're factoring in savings, billions of dollars of savings. Well, if you still have to go onto the exchange, then a lot of people maybe that wouldn't have went on the exchange are going to pay the penalty, so they'll go back on, if you can follow me. So, in other words, the numbers are not going to gel just on that fact alone.
Yeah.
But also, as far as undoing, the health care bill, you still have states like Ohio, my home state, which our governor, of course, even did it without legislative permission to expand Medicaid. He wanted to do that. So those expansions are still intact. And I'm not saying that what's being done in the magic of this budget and the smoke screens, I'm not saying it's not going to affect it, but to come out and say, oh, by the way, we just quietly undid it, simply is not accurate.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
That's fascinating. What else is up, Bob?
Well, the United Nations General Assembly, and this would, watching the actual drama created by the White House was fascinating to me. In an overwhelming vote, 128 members of the United Nations General Assembly didn't agree with the Jerusalem decision. You had 35 extensions, and then very few, I think it was, 15 countries voted with us. And I looked at the list of the countries, and they're tiny little countries,
Oh, we got, voting with us was Rwanda, Uganda, South Sudan, Malawi, Caribbean, Pacific nations. But a number of countries didn't vote at all. I mean, Canada, Poland, Australia, Mexico, they said, present or not present or whatever. They didn't vote. And Trump is threatening these people. That's bizarre. That is the antithesis of what the United Nations is. The United Nations is not supposed to be the rubber stamp for the United States. It's supposed to be an international body that maintains world peace.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're right. And we have tended in the past, and especially now, we've tended to get angry if they don't agree with us, and then we threaten to pull out of the United Nations. And, of course, we always bring up the fact that they throw expensive events and it costs $100 million. You can find a lot of reasons to do something. But, just because we don't agree with the decision, then all of a sudden, even though it was overwhelming, they're going to pull out, is what they're saying. But the bizarre part, I agree with you, that I found was the statement of Nikki Haley, our ambassador, saying, I'm watching who votes, and I'm going to tell the president. That's basically about the quote, I'm going to tell the president. Well, it's no secret who votes, first of all. And then when 128 people vote against you, 2 or 3, you could imagine maybe you could retaliate. 128, I highly doubt that there's going to be the ability to retaliate. But I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like our president is a bully figure, and Nikki Haley is like our president's like the abusive husband, and Nikki Haley is like the kid who's participating. My metaphor stinks. I can't come up with a good one.
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say.
Anyhow, moving along.
As we go into the new year too, I'm sure that you followed the UFO sightings and the study that Harry Reid had commissioned.
Yeah.
It's not unusual, by the way, to put something in the budget. We did it in the House budgets for security measures too, to put something in and not say this is to study UFOs.
Yeah, well, it's always been part of the Pentagon budget, hasn't it?
It's right. It's always there. But today there was a gentleman. His name is Luis Elizondo, and he was part of this project, and he came out and said, I think they are here. So I just thought that was a kind of a nice thing to bring up as we enter the new year.
Remember what Reagan said to Gorbachev, Bob?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Remember on this topic, remember what Reagan said to Gorbachev?
No,
I think it was when they were at Bitburg, or no, it wouldn't have been because Gorbachev wasn't there. Whatever. Reagan said to Gorbachev, if only the space aliens, I'm paraphrasing from memory here, but basically, if only the space aliens would reveal themselves, then we could all come together as a human race, or words to that effect. And, you know, it's always kind of stuck with me. I mean, it's kind of the old science fiction story, but, you know, that's what you see. When you have a common enemy, people come together.
True.
And which makes me wonder, you know, this could be food for an Alex Jones conspiracy theory. You know, Trump releases the video of the UFO, and it's not actually real, but it's there to make everybody kind of come together. I don't know. Bob Nate with Talk Media News. Thank you, Bob. I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Bob. Great talking.